Welcome to NFL Talk on the Atlanta Sports Channel. I'm your host, Enrique Ledius. So we're going to dive right into how the Chiefs absolutely just stymied the Baltimore Ravens in this AFC showdown. So start off with how I think the Chiefs just offensive, defensive strategy. I mean, they took this Ravens team who was dominant in the season, defensively dominant, offensively number one rush team in the season, and they just stopped them completely. There was no Lamar run game. The defense did pretty good first half, honestly. Actually, I will say, defensively, they were able to stop Mahomes pretty well in that first half, but just such a close game. But the Chiefs kind of pulled away, and that's something I'll start off with here. It's just the Chiefs on the offensive side. I think Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, he's like Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, right? 30 out of 39 passes, 241 yards. He just kept the chains moving, and he really kept the Ravens defense on their toes. I thought, honestly, huge game from Travis Kelce. Not only made 11 catches for 116 yards, but also scored touchdown, broke Jerry Rice's record for the most postseason receptions in NFL history. Shout out to him. I think this is where the Chiefs become dangerous, right? You could talk all you want about their struggling during the regular season. They're no longer the team. It's Josh Allen's year. It's Jalen Hurts' year. It's gonna be Lamar's year. It's all these things, and you hear it. You hear all the talk, but then the playoffs roll around, and then if you look at history, if you look at the way things are, Mahomes is in his fourth. He won his fourth AFC Championship in the past 6 years. I think the record was. Don't quote me on that. I could be completely off on that, but it's something ridiculously absurd like that. So, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and as much as people get sick of it, I'm kind of sick of it. But honestly, you just got to respect greatness. It's unbelievable what they're able to do. I think you look at the defensive dominance the Chiefs had this game. Credit to Steve Spagnuolo, who they put a stop to Lamar. Put a stop to Lamar's run game. Although I will say, and I'll get into a little bit later, I feel like the Ravens' strategy was not good this game. I don't know what they were thinking in terms of trying to drop back past the ball, but look at what the Chiefs did, blitzing Lamar 20 times, and high pressure rate of 37%, 4 sacks. Their defense was incredible, right? Especially on third down. The Ravens were held to just 3 successful conversions on 11 attempts on third downs, and they held that team, an offensive powerhouse this year, to 10 points. And again, in the playoffs, that's why in the playoffs, I don't know how often you get, just because you're a high scoring team in the regular season, doesn't always mean that you're going to carry that over in the playoffs, because teams play differently, or they play a lot more closer. The defense is a lot more tightened up. You got the best of the best in these playoffs, and that's where the Chiefs really do a lot of their damage. And they were able to stop Lamar. They were able to stop the Ravens, held them down to 10 points. But I will say now, getting into it on the Ravens side offensively, I don't know. This is where I think a lot of people are scratching their head a little bit, right? And they just couldn't find a rhythm. And you could talk about that interception in the end zone. I'm not so down on Lamar for that one. That wasn't really, no one else seemed to be open in that point. But I just thought Todd Monk in there, and listening to a lot of people, why did they not run the ball, right? Why did they rely so much on the passing? They treated Lamar like he was a drop back passer, which I think he's gotten better at dropping back and passing. But what makes Lamar? It's his run game, right? It's his ability to make off schedule plays. It's his ability to kind of force defenders to kind of second guess whether he's going to run it or pass it. And I think the fact that he has gotten better at passing has been a huge weapon in addition to him as a whole, because now he is a double threat, in my opinion. He always could run the ball really well. He could always scramble the ball really well. He's a definition of the prototypical, what you want in a QB that can run the ball. But he having developed his ability to pass the ball, because that was always a knock on him, right? He's a running back or whatever. Having developed his ability to pass the ball, it makes him that like dual threat thing, and people, you have to respect that pass game of his. But in this game, I just feel like they just ran away from the run game. They, pun intended, I guess, right? But they just completely did not utilize it at all, or in the way that everyone thought they would. And you also look at like OBJ was pretty quiet. Rashad Bateman, I thought, was underutilized. I mean, like Beckman didn't even get targeted till like the fourth quarter, I think it was, and Bateman only got like 3 targets. And I mean, you just look at the way Lamar played. He was, I hate to say rattled, but he definitely wasn't himself, and there was, I don't know, just something in me that was like waiting for Lamar to just like become Lamar, waiting for the Ravens to be the Ravens in this game, and kind of wake up like the Niners did, and it just never happened. I just felt like the game was there too. Like it was only a 7-point difference, and at some points, and like, especially, you look at those key moments in the game, Zay Flowers with that fumble right near the goal line. That was such a big fumble there, big play, big miss, like a big miss for the Ravens there. And then you look at that roughing the passer against Jadeveon Clowney. You can argue, right? Like the refs are favoring Mahomes, and that's the way he always gets the calls. It is what it is. He's Mahomes. But again, like these mistakes, they were just way too costly for the Ravens, and they not only missed scoring opportunities, but they just gave the Chiefs favorable field positioning, I felt like, and overall, I felt like the Chiefs' victory here was just a really good, effective offense. It was a good blend of that offense, aggressive defensive strategy, but then also, in my opinion, the biggest of them all was capitalizing on the Ravens' mistakes and like bad game planning, I guess, or just, in my opinion, weird game planning. I felt like Mahomes and Kelsey just, they woke up. Yeah, now I mean they've been like throughout this season. There's been like, Travis Kelsey isn't getting the same success that he has. He's struggling. He threw his helmet on the ground at one point, and like, but now in the postseason, it's like they're the same old Chiefs, right? It's like the Chiefs are the Chiefs. That's just all we could really say at this point, right? And the ability to play well in the playoffs under pressure. That's why they've had the success they've had. And you look at the other side with the Ravens, and this was just not a good strategy. I think it comes down to that. Like, I don't know how you kind of deviate from that running game, which, only 16 rushing plays, half of them were by Lamar Jackson. I think, like, they didn't use their possessions really well. They couldn't really get, again, that rhythm to somehow get a comeback. There wasn't a whole lot of like offensive support for Lamar too, compared to like Mahomes and Kelsey. They have that duo, and they have that go-to, right? Mahomes has that go-to to Kelsey. I don't think Lamar has exactly that with his team. And you got to credit Steve Spagnuolo for his ability to limit Lamar and disrupt that. And throughout the year, the Ravens were always just like really pushing the ball and moving the chains. They just had that offensive strength in this year. In this game, it just didn't show, and it wasn't there. And I feel like, now you start to kind of question Lamar in the playoffs, right? You can have a great season, you can have a great regular season, but he's 2-4 in the playoffs. And, questions start to kind of come up about his ability to perform, and he's a clutch player and things like that. Now, personally, I just believe that, like, I believe he is. I believe he still can be. I feel like, this game specifically, to me, it's just, I'm just confused on what strategy they decided to go with, because it would be different if Lamar tried running the ball, if they made him, run the ball a lot, or if the team strategized the way they did the season to really use their rushing game a lot, and people would fumble the ball, or Lamar he would fumble the ball, he would not make good plays, he would throw a bunch of interceptions, or if it was him really playing poorly, then I think, all right, maybe playoff wise he hasn't performed. But to me, it's like, I don't think he even got it. I just didn't feel like we got to see the best of the Ravens in the game that meant the most so up until this point. And that's what's disappointing. It's like, again, you look at like even the Cowboys, like that same thing too. And I'm not necessarily a Cowboys fan, but it's like I just feel bad that they went down and they didn't put their best foot forward. It's like if they were going to go down, then at least you go down playing, your best, and the other team beat you. You got beat. This one, I felt like the Ravens just like, I don't know, I didn't seem like it wasn't the same Ravens that we had this all season. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe more diehard Ravens fans, if you're watching this, you could maybe see a trend in the last couple games or whatever. But I just felt like I didn't really see this coming in terms of the strategy going into the game. Like if you look at the regular season, they had, I don't know, they ranked first in the regular season with 156 yards for 56 and a half rushing yards per game. I don't know if that's actually accurate, but they only had 16 rushing attempts in this game against Kansas City. Running backs touched the ball 9 times during the game, 8 rushing attempts from running backs. Lamar counted for 8 of them. I mean, like, I just feel like they need to rush that ball, run the ball more. They need to let Lamar do his thing. And even there was a clip of OBJ going like, "Hey, like, what's going on? Like, you are the best when you do what you do. Like, what is going on?" And that's, I feel like everyone in Ravens, all Ravens fans were asking that question, like, what is going on here? Like, that was not what people saw throughout the year. But again, you also have to look at the Chiefs, right? I mean, that's just, I feel like the Chiefs really brought it. They weren't messing around, and you saw Travis Kelce throw Justin Tucker's helmet away, and they were. They were going to come out and they're away, and they were going to come out strong, and they did. You got to give credit to them, but I just feel like from a fans' perspective of just wanting to see like a really good game between both these top quarterbacks. I felt like kind of saw it from Kansas, but I felt like I didn't really see the game that I was expecting to see from Lamar from a game plan perspective, from an OC perspective, from strategy perspective. I didn't really see what I thought we were going to. It wasn't the duel that I thought it was going to be. And it's just it's the playoffs, and maybe they kind of overthought it. You don't know. I mean, you never know, and what can happen in the playoffs, and that's why you play the game. But at the same time, like you only get so many chances at bat, right, in the playoffs like this. And yeah, it was just interesting game, I thought. But it is what it is, and the Chiefs get to move on, going to the Super Bowl, and I'll be making a video on that, kind of previewing how I think that's gonna go, and what each team's gonna need. But yeah, you guys in the comments, let me know if you're watching this. Like, what do you think the Ravens really should have done? What were they trying to do? If anyone can get a good sense of that, what were they trying to accomplish with trying to be more of a drop back pass with Lamar there? Is there maybe something in the Chiefs secondary that, like, I mean, I didn't really see throughout this playoffs run? So I don't know, but weird game for the Ravens to see them come out like that, but it is what it is, right? So yeah, I mean, Chiefs move on, and Chiefs 49ers in the Super Bowl. So look, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you guys, and I've had a lot of fun this season. We got one more game to go in this NFL season. And if you guys like the video, hit the like button. I really appreciate it. And subscribe for more videos to come. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys later.